Look, at this point, my balls, your mouth, bro. Holy shit. Holy shit. That was the stupidest fucking goddamn. All right, bro. And I don't know how this, I mean, hello. Hello. Earlier today, Jesus Christ, you got away with words, bro. Deep down, use it. Oh, fuck you. Okay. There's this lady on YouTube. Hello, lady. Savannah Brown. And I seen her face on things. She would come up and it said on astral projection. And I like that shit. I'm there, bro. And so I watched the video and it really struck me. It really struck me because you could tell she had the experience. If you want to just watch the fucking video. Watch the video. So, oh my God. I started recording the shit that would happen to me. And if what she put in that video, her reading her incredibly well-written assessment of herself and the experiences, if that influenced me the way it did, I have room to do the same. I have my own experiences. I have these things that I can share. I have the time to make this video. However frustrated, shut up. So, where do we start? I do not have the her shit you could have published. This, maybe I can get you some. Never mind. What's there to lose? I can read out loud. It's not going to be the same, though. Don't expect it to be. And I ain't trying to make it that way, bro. In any case, I don't want to sound like a dumbass, but my mind is buzzing. After a long time of nothing, I finally had a breakthrough with astral projection or the weird shit. As ridiculous as it feels to me right now, I'm writing this because I feel like I have to. It feels important. Like 2 years ago, what happened was I was able to see, at least in some partly awake state, I was able to make it out of my body. The deal with this wasn't so much what happened or what I saw. It was awareness of structure of the process. This is what still shocks me to my core. Think of yourself as a computer system. Something like eating food and processing nutrients and dealing with waste is incredibly complex for your body. It is meticulous. The simplicity in appearance is chemically ornate and mechanically extravagant. My point here that you have to take an objective or at least a reasonable standpoint. This is written so shitty, bro. Blah blah blah. It's not just our digestive tract. Bro. Look, I'll be good in like 5 minutes, but I just popped like a 20 milligrams in, and I'm oh baby. And this is in like 3-point font. Just shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't need to just look, man. Astral projection is a crude term for something that one day will be science. I swear to God, bro. Biologically, we are organized. We are organized. We are mechanical in that sense. I'm not saying the universe is a machine. I do not subscribe to that belief system. I believe everything that she said in her video. There is so much, and foundationally, universally, whatever the biggest word you can think of is, bro. The concepts that persist move beyond the English comprehension of the word love. They are, it is being. It is the premise of being. When you are, there's no room for the experience of love. There is such intense actualization and presence, and not in as many words. And what that means when I say there's no room for love is such a crude, beautiful concept that fits within the English language, does not appear as such. It is towered over, and not in an oppressive way, by the breadth of the extension of love that is encompassed by the state of being. You following me? So where does this take us? Where does this take us, bro? If everything is structured and at its core you have love, there's a world in between that. And what those two things insist upon is that love as a foundation. I mean, could you shut the fuck up? Just shut the fuck up. Hold on. Let me not vomit, bro. Try it right now. Think of a foundation for a system. What would facilitate the greatest cohesion and smoothest functioning besides something like what I described? There is no system of power, of organization, better than some coherent unification of a system. Now, in the organizational state as human beings, there are degrees to this. What I mean is what the human system, the animal system, is familiar with regard to this system of love, as I'm fucking saying it, is you're not, when you wake up in the morning and you go to your job, you are not being the universe in, you're not as aware of the fucking car going by as you are of like nebula over there. A nebula. This is a lot. I don't usually get nicked out off one of these, bro. Jesus fuck. Cunt. I said, just shut the fuck up. Okay. Just give me a sec, bro. Probably add to the views if I threw up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. I'm not going to. You don't know that. Shit, I might. I'll be right back, bro. Don't go nowhere. We're good. We're good. We're good. Where was I? Come on. Come on. That was fun. Get to the point, bro. Look, all of what I said, it doesn't matter for this. It's framework and it matters, but what's important is that this is not everything I believe. Everything that is magic is science that has not been made that yet. In time, things one cannot imagine change. And what right now seems so far beyond our reach could be seen as traditional and mundane even. The key element of that is permitting these changes to take place over time. If transformations in consciousness related to the subjects at hand were to take place in a day, it would not be reconcilable easily for men. You know what I'm saying? But over, a really long time, belief systems, understandings of science become accepted, become integrated. You're born into a world that sees things as normal. If the function of something like astral projection were acclimated to in this world over a span of hundreds or thousands of years globally, how would it be framed? Differently. It would be framed differently. So what that says is, with all this stuff, all the stuff that I'm saying, with all the stuff I'm trying to say, I'm looking at it from this perspective. And I was so happy to hear when watching Lady's video that the resources that she referenced and everything she said aligned so much with my opinions. It was just very cool. She spoke a lot about Robert Monroe. He was just a dude, bro. And he had a initial experience that was jarring. Thought he was going crazy. And his psychologist friend was like, well, why don't you keep playing with it, bro? And then if you go insane, tough shit. Not like that. It was, those early experiences resulted in one of his tremendous legacies, bro. There are books that exist as great resources, wealths of information for people interested in the subject. Journeys Out of the Body is one. You can find a PDF of it online. And this was a introductory thing for me. So I don't remember why I started talking about that. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Fuck. Okay. How I'm gonna do this, instead of reading all this shit. I mean, I know the important stuff in here, bro. And I do want someone to read this one day. How could I not? Now's not the time. So, how do you take a scientific approach to something like this? You kind of got to start with not much, dude. It feels like a new scientific field. It feels like I want to be someone who brings changes to this, who finds something meaningful and finds an organizational structure and can bring it to the world and make strides in what will at one day be a scientific field. I want to I don't care. I'm going to read these. I haven't looked at them in a while. Sunday, May 5th, 2024, 2:35 p.m. Okay, I haven't been writing down some stuff, but that's only because I haven't had a real and clear astral projection since the last one on the 8th. Before today, there was some experience or experiences I had that made me mix lucidity in a dream or strange experience while meditating. Today, though not an out-of-body experience conventionally, was something. What happened again was ultimately a transition to out-of-body experience from within a dream. I do not really know how to classify it, as it wasn't an out-of-body experience where I was lucid in context of my whole self. Rather, I was in the environment of and lucid as the version of myself I was in a dream. This means that I retained critical thinking to a degree as one would be in possession of in a fully present astral projection. But my identity, myself, was the self I identified with in context of the dream. I had not lived, quote, my life. I had lived a slightly different life in a slightly different reality with a slightly different degree of imminent environmental circumstances. Some things overlap, and there was some contextual filling in by what I can only imagine is my subconscious. This is when I would feel a connection to something or identified with something only relevant to my life as I live it now, the person I am writing this. In these circumstances, things were kind of glossed over, blanks were filled in, like I said, with what I imagined as my subconscious. Anyway, it was deep. There was a girl I liked and I held her and it felt like life. That's all. Monday, June 3rd, 2024, 8:41 a.m. Well, I had another dying dream. It was weird. Oh, I don't know. This one brought me to face my death in a way others haven't. At most, I'd only have a few seconds in the past, but this time, most of the content of the dream was my mental preparation for death. There was something beautiful about it because of the context. The premise of the dream was changing the way a dream does, but loosely. Some cosmic event was going to kill me. At first, it was like the giant wave in the 2012 movie hitting the Himalayas. Then it was like we were flung off Earth in some vehicle about to hit the moon. Then it was the Earth was colliding with another planet slowly, and the change in atmosphere made you suffocate. That was when I started to die in the dream and wake up here. I was so at peace. The point isn't the silliness of the context. The point is the way I critically examine myself and my situation in the context of mortality. There is a progression here. And like is the way in religion or whatever. I just can't see the full plan. I accept that. I don't know what I believe religiously. I don't know what God looks like. I'm glad to be alive with the experiences I've had. I'm glad to have lived this life. Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024, 12:30 a.m. Okay. It seems like I'm back to having these more often. Both last night and this morning, as well as now, when the time and date is. I had one lucid dream and two APs, respectively. I don't think I used respectively the way I ought have used. Oh, wait, never mind. They were all three much more conscious than in the past, and with more deliberate initiation and separation than ever. The AP just now was initialized fully from vibration into assessment of sleep paralysis to convincing myself I was moving my physical body to swing onto the floor. By that last part, I mean that to separate, I convinced myself what I felt was my physical body loving to help with the ability to align myself with my astral body. It's so cool. I know I get frustrated and like just really, really up against the wall with life and with this stuff, but the feeling, I can't explain how beautiful a feeling it is to be outside yourself. This is not a silly little imagination exercise. It is not some hallucination. I don't know what it is, but it is as real as breathing. And we'll skip ahead some, perhaps to the last page. Perhaps the last page. Why not? Friday, October 3rd, 2025, 2:28 a.m. So much has happened. I haven't written about it because I just can't. I haven't had any red text astral projections, but I meditate. I meditate. I cannot express the breadth of experience that have passed. Tonight I sat and I was larger, superimposed as a spirit over my body, towering, seated just so as a Buddha, at least a form. I was so tall. My head reached high above my house. Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, 3:52 a.m. Okay, first actual AP in a while, probably the cleanest. I did the thing floating up through my house into the sky. Tried to do stuff to stay focused. In my room, my vision was darker, like less good, which made sense. Like, it's the way people talk about it that's different. I moved off, though, and was able to see the wall. I was able to see well. At the end, I took myself to the front of Lone Mountain just to fly around, and that was that. I was trying to figure out stuff to keep me focused because that helped a lot, and woke up lingering too long on, hey, go spy on people, which is for the best. Anyway, how this happened was I noticed I was in sleep paralysis and did like, fuck it, like just pull out thing. Knowing the body I was moving and getting out of bed was my astral one. From there, I went up through the roof, etc. It was very vivid, high lucidity, high clarity, some discrepancies, like metaphorical visual stuff, but with focus and assertion. What I was seeing didn't line up with reality. Like trees, like too much trees. And I was like, come on, this isn't what it's supposed to look like. Like, it was easy to say that stuff and to be focused. IDK, that doesn't cover it completely. I don't know why I was so sharp, but I was. So look, good job, blah blah. The San Francisco part was most clear and vivid and all that. IDK, good job. Be better, try better. Thursday, November 13th, 2025, 11:57 p.m. Hi, so it was the art residency in Chile. A lot happened. I meditated in that vortex and the ground hit back like a magnetic pulse through my whole body. Heavy and real and not some metaphor, like very, very, very felt. That was cool. I had some of the craziest meditation of my life. I was going in and relaxing and fixing the right side of my brain, however I do that. Like it's always on, always highest possible energy, and over time, I'm giving space for this metaphorical muscles to unclench on their own. You can't force it and ease myself right back to a state of balance and calm. It feels kind of the way you don't have access to sleep and man, blah 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, 1:24 p.m. So this is weird. I woke up at like 10, then went back to sleep eventually and could stay in almost constant lucid dreams. For me, it was more like just having visions. Like I didn't feel like I fell asleep, but I could close my eyes and easily tune my eyes the way I've been learning to stay, the way I've been learning to and stay in the worlds because I had a handle on how to assess my environment. It's the way if you want to look around in real life, you turn your head, you peer, you can feel it in muscles and tangible stuff with eyes and squinting and etc. And this is just as complex and organized, but instead of your physical eyes, there's a parallel like system that takes place inside your head, so you don't have to relearn. So you have to relearn, like you have to learn to. Oh my God, I'm saying you gotta relearn to use your eyes because it's not using your eyes to see. You want to look somewhere, look more closely, use the mental mechanism instead of instinctively falling back to behaviors that relate to physical waking sight. Very cool. There's some stuff investigating reading. So I was like trying to, blah, blah. Okay, I was so aware to preface like I am right now. And I was like, okay, I know how they say dreams, you can't read in them. So let me try this. And I was putting stuff with my brain on a sign or board I had laid out. And I was seeing how it would feel, and it was weird. It was like some shit with Gen AI where the chain of memory is so tiny. And also, if I looked directly at a letter or a word, it was nonsense or like not even, like just not there. But if I scanned, it didn't linger, it would be coherent. And so the Gen AI thing is like, I could do this. I was experimenting, but if I tried to put pressure, like try again and again, the same phrase or whatever, the stuff would change. If I looked forward, like to the right or back left to the beginning, the words would be something else. And it was like the part of my brain governing that sort of consistency was just partitioned off. Like it actually felt like that feeling before you were aware of a muscle and it just doesn't exist or isn't mapped yet to your brain and body. Thursday, December 18th, 2025, unrecorded time. IDK, where to start with this? It's insane. I'm getting better at holding my sight and meditation, which necessarily opens up a new avenue of visual elements. I talk to my mom vividly, brought on only by a brief attempt to see with my eyes closed. I'm not saying I talked to her here in real life and that she knew what I said. I don't really care about explaining this. Oh, fuck it. I could see her younger, like a ghost overlaid semi transparent on the background of my room, speaking like before and looking younger, I guess, as I remember as a kid, and saying she was, yeah. Sunday, December 21st, 2025, 5:04 a.m. More shit explaining aging as change. Everything aging as change. That's okay. I'm not going to explain that. Getting way better at sustaining internal sight, way better. Playing gamma binaural beats now has improved my sleep meditation and experiences of this nature. It is insane. It is insane that I experience this and I open my eyes and I do not live in a world of a chore of others who. That's not typed properly. I live in a world where these things are still secret, and yet at the same time they're so real. More real than anything. I'm stupefied. I'm getting more capable of moderating my emotions, not influencing experiences by allowance of fear. I also swallowed a Zim earlier. This shit is ridiculous. I will look back on this. So that was December 2025. And there's times when I write more and there's times when I don't remember to, and then I come back and do shit. One day, all this will have a place here. Things change, and it was Charlie Chaplin that said something like, greed is but the passing of men, and so long as men die, liberty will never perish. I do not know what I will see in my lifetime, and I do not know what you will see in yours. But based off of what I have experienced outside of this world, it's okay. The mercy of suffering as a human, no matter the degree, is that it may end. And the windfall beyond that is that such an environment exists, maintained to facilitate that experience of love. I think the important thing and the real reason I made this video and the real reason I hope to reach whatever, dude. But you, lady, if you watch this one day, there are ways to be within yourself and to assess what you experience the way you would a math problem, and yet at the same time to not lose the beauty of it. I know you don't have to do this, but I feel like I have to. I feel like if I don't study this, I'm slipping on some potential I could have. Not given, not any shit. But there is some force, my guide, so I do take it this way. I do study it. And thinking now, I am of the opinion, whatever. So, when you see in a dream, there is a physical location in your brain that you can strengthen by repeatedly becoming aware of it. And in such a way, when sitting or lightly meditating, a more initial step that will be within reach is adjusting your focus to be on this part of your brain so as to initiate the visual element of these other experiences. The visual element is incredibly strong when it comes to adjusting our awareness of space and presence and physical interactability. Using that as leverage in an introductory fashion can precipitate a much easier transition into external states. In the process of what I'm describing, for me, what it feels like is this. When I'm in a lucid dream, when I'm trying to reach this visual state, an inclination is present naturally to, in resolving what is before you, bring your presence up to your actual eyes. It is all natural. In doing so, as one would imagine, you are moving attention away from an experience that does not have a visual housing within the confines of your physical eyes. But if you are gentle with this, in those moments where you accidentally transition your focus to your physical eyes, you will be able to take note of from where the focus came. You move your attention to your eyes, and that attention, I would imagine, was sitting somewhere in your visual cortex. I don't know what part of the brain it is. The experiential necessary element of this is that it is within reach in the context of tactile experience. You train a muscle not necessarily by understanding its name and precise location. You train a muscle by engaging with it responsibly, but engaging with it. That is to say, it's a flawed. Fuck you. Fuck you. It's that comparison isn't. Let me try again. You can't just, bro. Oh my God. The point is, you gotta feel it to become aware of it. If you don't know where the shit is because you never felt it, then there's nowhere to try and move back to when you're moving your visual sense in a dream or whatever to this place that is not your eyes. You don't know where to go, bro. But once you get there, there's like a subtle little magnetism because you've experienced what zone it is that you're trying to get back to, what part of your brain. Okay? Okay. So you feel it. You're like, I'm pulling my focus towards my eyes, but I can tell that that's causing the image of the dream or whatever to kind of disintegrate, to become just the gray shit or whatever that you see when your eyes are shut. I can feel it moving to my eyes. So what is the inverse of that action? How do I let it go back to where it was before? It is a process, bro. But it is so structured and so much, I just cannot fucking overstate this. Why would such an experientially core element of consciousness be left to the whims of non-organizational structure? it would make no sense for this system that we interact with in states such as these, it would make no sense for it to be fuzzy or undefined or lacking in structure. And I strongly believe that reassuring yourself of this will lead to leaps and bounds in any individual's pursuit. Second only, perhaps, to a proper approach, which the lady covered very well. And it is an enviable understanding of things. And we are all creatures. We are all creatures and we are all learning. But so, in these experiences, there is such an overwhelming expanse of novelty. Physiologically, the felt experience is at times a sensory overload, and it is so challenging to maintain equilibrium, and in so doing, to attempt to parse what is there into a state of comprehension that can be used in the future. But you can do it. Everybody can do it. Thank you for your time. Smoke Signals by Phoebe Bridgers.